Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
All right, guys, welcome in and a very happy Wednesday to you here now as the days continue to tick down. The end of 2022 is, well, it's almost upon us here. We'll welcome in a brand new year. And of course, that means March Madness will be here before we know it, 2023. But a lot of action between now and January 1st, a lot of tickets to cash. And we're going to take a look here at the schedule tonight, some intriguing matchups. And we'll see if we can't find a couple of best bets and some edges to be had. And we're going to do it with three of the best over at wagertalk.com as the gang is all here for a Wednesday. And Jimmy here. Good to see you, Jimmy. Nice to see you're still floating around somewhere in the world. Jimmy Adams hanging out with us. Drew Martin in the house stepping up. And of course, Adam Trigger, ready for the soccer match, I am sure, in which he's probably all in on Morocco. No, I'm only kidding. All right, Drew, talk to me here, my man. What is going on, brother? Bowl season here. I mean, college hoops. What do you got locked and loaded for us over at Wager Talk today? Drew, maybe not Drew. All right, hold on, Drew. Hold on. I'll go to Trig. Go ahead, Trig. You start us off. Tell us, what do you got locked and loaded? It better not be any soccer matches. I'll tell you that.
Now, I will. Well, Joe, I stopped betting soccer or selling soccer plays a long time ago.
Yep.
But I like these big tournaments. I saw France just scored. I texted you France earlier. So let's just get that straightened out. I should have. I wish I would. Joe, I'll tell you, I wish that I was selling these soccer places. I've actually had a really good World Cup. Just following mostly other people, though. I really don't know much of what's going on. I don't follow it year round. But anyway, I have a 5% NFL play up, something I do follow year round, Joe. And I've had a really good football season this year. College basketball, first month is about in the books now. Been really streaky, up and down. I think I've lost the last 3. Prior to that, I've won 7 in a row. So it's all over the place. It shaked out to be about even for me thus far in college hoops. But I hope this next month is where I really take off. I've got a 4% college basketball play that I'm going to give you at the end of the show. But yeah, a bunch of bowls, and my NFL 5%er is up on my page right now. So go check that out.
All right, no reason not to head on over there. And Jimmy Adams, somewhere in the world here coming to us. They obviously have electricity and internet. It's always a pleasure to see you, Jimmy. Second week in a row. You crushed it here last week. So tell us, what do you got in store for us this week over at Wager Talk?
Yeah, what's up, Joe? Things have been going pretty well. 75% in college basketball over the past week, and I am heavily invested tonight. I got a 5% play up going down this evening in college hoops. There's an NFL play up for Thursday night. We're on an 18-8 run there. I gave out a free play on Wager Talk today. You can find it on my page. So lots of action going down. So I'm ready for a good show.
All right, let's do it. And Drew Martin here, just make sure we got his look. He can hear us, and that's half the battle here, people. Talk to us, Drew. What do you got locked and loaded tonight over at Wager Talk?
Yeah, sure, Joe. Sorry, I thought your opening was directed towards Trig, but yeah, always good to be on with you, buddy.
Perfect.
And excited to break down these games, man. So a good hump day show for you.
All right. Well, we got it here now. You know I would never start with Trig. All right. So why don't we go ahead? We'll start with Drew here, and we'll go UCLA taking on Maryland here tonight. 1.5 is what we're seeing here for the Maryland number. Total 142. This is going to be 9 o'clock Eastern time tip here tonight. Intriguing matchup here as we round down the these non-conference battles. What do you think here? Maryland, a lot of people very high on this team, Drew, this year. Are you a believer in the Terps getting it done?
I am, Joe. I mean, they are off of a tough loss to Tennessee, and that Tennessee team plays really good defense. They've actually lost 2 straight, but have a good senior point guard in Jameer Young. They're 8-2 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. Also something to note, 4 straight unders, playing pretty good defense, talking about the Terps. And going up against the Bruins here, Mick Cronin's team, very talented basketball team, also 8-2 on the season. They did lose to 2 good teams in Illinois and Baylor, but more reading the market here, Joe, they lost 2 straight against the spread. They've lost 3 of 4 and 5 of 7. So I'm almost worried, UCLA, a big brand, they're just getting overpriced a little bit here in the marketplace. Plus the fact, going cross country in college basketball can be a little bit tricky. So I would look towards the Terps here, just getting them at the -1 number at home.
All right, home team, why not here? Usually in these non-conference games here, Trig, we usually get a little bit of a bump here for the home team. You like Maryland in this spot, or is it UCLA or not for you here tonight?
Well, no, I kind of disagree. So we'll have Jimmy Adams break the tie here in a second. But, I mean, it's not a play for me, so I want to make that clear. But just to give my thoughts on the game, I actually think the wrong team is favored. I make UCLA the favorite here. Here's the thing, Maryland's impressed me, and maybe this just comes back to where I was at on Maryland coming into the season. I didn't really expect this out of them. I had them sort of not like a bottom feeder in the Big Ten, but I certainly didn't think that they were going to be a team sort of contending in the Big Ten this year. But the way they came out had kind of, and then the win over Illinois had kind of elevated their standing to what I think was a little too high on for what they actually are. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I look at their schedule: Illinois, Wisconsin, up in Madison, Tennessee on a neutral court. They come home here tonight, which is certainly an advantage. They play well at home and they get a good crowd there. But I wonder how much they have for this game. I mean, they're not super deep. So I don't know if they've got to be a little bit tired here. And UCLA, they do travel across country, but they haven't had any travel at all, really. I mean, we referenced the Illinois game and the Baylor game. Both of those games were in Las Vegas. 2 tough losses for UCLA. Since then, they've just been out in the state of California. I think they played a road game at Stanford, which of course isn't significant travel. And then most of their games have been at home. They won both of their Pac-12 games against Stanford and Oregon. So, 5 straight wins for UCLA coming into this game. This will certainly be the toughest of that stretch, but, UCLA needs to win one of these here. They were fine against Illinois and Baylor. Obviously, Illinois pulled away in the second half, and they lost a tough game to what I consider to be a good Baylor team. But I think UCLA is the better of these 2 teams. I'm not buying it. I don't mind the travel because UCLA hasn't had a ton of it. And Maryland's played quite the gauntlet. So I actually like the Bruins if I was going to get involved in this one, Joe.
All right. Well, you heard it, Jimmy. No pressure here, right? Drew's waiting to hear now. Trig's waiting to see which side you're landing. The Xfinity Center, it's going to be hopping here tonight. I will say this, though. UCLA, schedule-wise, not exactly a whole lot of dudes inside the top 50, shall we say, in KenPom. So what do you think of the chances here that the home team can handle business?
Well, unfortunately, guys, for client reasons, I'm not going to be able to break the tie, but I am going to look to the.
That's okay, Joe. They can go get it. They can go get it if they want it.
Yeah,
he went Switzerland on us, Drew, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Go ahead, man.
So I'm obviously going to look at the total. I think we got a pretty good defensive battle on our hands. Maryland looking to bounce back off back-to-back losses to Wisconsin and Tennessee. They didn't get to 60 points in either one of those matchups, but the defense remains top-notch. The Terps have great rim protection. They do a really good job at defending the three-point line as well. So it's going to be hard to come by for a UCLA team that has run up the score on kind of some inferior competition. Maryland ranks 30th nationally in points allowed at just 60.8 points per game. But then you got UCLA, who isn't far behind at just 63.3. Mick Cronin's teams are always top-notch defensively. They're always ready to go. They tend to play at a slower pace, though, and as I mentioned, Maryland's been having trouble scoring as of late. 4-0 to the under in Maryland's last four, so I'll be looking for a low-scoring affair in this one.
All right, there you go. Outstanding public relations there, Jimmy Adams. Outstanding the way you did that, kind of sideswiped all of us. All right, we're going to move on here, though. Game number 2, we're going to break down for you. It's going to be LBS, Long Beach State, taking on USC. Good old Coach Enfield there. 145.5 is the total. 11 o'clock Eastern time, and that little degenerate special here tonight we love so much, Drew. SC laying a dozen here. Yikes. Hasn't it been a great start for USC? But what do you think of their chances of covering this number tonight?
Yeah, a little high, Joe. Double digits here in the Beach. I kind of wish they were playing at home. I love their home court. I think it's the best in the country. Yeah. But playing in the Big West Conference, kind of stepping up, playing up against the Pac-12 here in USC. Joe, you bring up Andy Edfield in this USC team, playing really good defense, by the way. It's just their last couple games, looking at my numbers here, they're not a team that really runs up and down the court too much. At least in their last 4 or 5 games, I like to watch, how teams are going pace-wise. And USC hasn't been really going a lot up-tempo. So to cover a big number here, I'm not so sure I want that side, but at the same time, the Beach, 60% from the free throw line, and they lost 93-69, kind of getting blown out against light competition in UCLA. So kind of stepping up in class. They had a tough time doing that back in the month of November. So to trust them to do it again, that's what kept me off of the big underdog here in Long Beach State.
It's interesting, Trig. I mean, they're riding a 3-game winning streak, SC, but they can't cover. They're burning bettors' money. Guys that back them, they can't get it done. And home hasn't been necessarily very profitable for them either. So what gives here tonight? You trust them to lay a dozen?
No, there's no shot I would lay 12 points with USC here, Joe. You're right. So you want to talk about Maryland having a really good atmosphere. We should see a great atmosphere in that Maryland UCLA game. USC doesn't really, and now that we're in conference play, I can't see USC having a big crowd here for this game. And if anything, maybe some Long Beach State fans will show up because that's in the LA area as well, not very far from the Galen Center where this game is going to be played. So that's one thing where I think that they do get a little bit overvalued at home. I'm also not a huge Andy Enfield guy. I've kind of said since he's gotten to USC that he's sort of a coach I would be willing to fade. And that's no different for me this year. I think USC has some issues specifically. Enfield's supposed to be the shooting guy, but they're outside the top 300 in 3-point shooting, 307th nationally. I believe they're hitting just 30.6% from distance this year. And they're turning it over a ton, 13 a game. Just not things that you want to see, to win games by margin. Long Beach State, in my opinion, isn't bad. They've had some decent results, and again, they should. I expect them to be more up for this game than USC will be for this game. So with that being said, if Long Beach State, if they can shoot a little bit here, I mean that's that they're going to have a hard time scoring inside against USC. But if they can find a way to score some points, I'll be shocked if USC is able to pull away in this game. So if I was going to get involved here, I would take the big number. Not a client play for me. Not it's really just more of an opinion. But no interest in laying 12 with USC here, Joe.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Jimmy, are you confident enough to back SC here tonight, or are you going total here?
No, I'm in line with what Trig was saying. Big contrast in styles. USC, they boast one of the top defenses in the nation, while Long Beach State plays about as fast as anyone in the country. 6th fastest in the nation, if you want to be exact. They put up a shot every 14.8 seconds, so they're going to want to run. The key to this game for me is going to be limiting turnovers, and they got to knock down threes. If they want to stay in this number, they have to knock down the outside shots, because those are two areas that Long Beach State has really struggled. But this is just not a USC team that's really built to cover as double-digit favorites. Failed to cover last game against Cal State, followed it in. Didn't come close to a point spread cover against Oregon State before that. And check out this trend, Joe. The Trojans are 5-18 against the spread in their last 23 home games. So not a team that I'm rushing to back right now. It also could be a look-ahead spot for USC. They have Auburn coming to town on Sunday. So I'm going to look for Long Beach State to utilize the transition opportunities and stay within this number.
All right, there you go. It seems to be a clean sweep here of sorts on this one. We'll move on to our final game tonight, which is going to be UCF taking on Ole Miss here. Ole Miss laying the 6. The total 130 in this matchup, 7:30 Eastern time here with this one. It's an intriguing matchup, Drew, with a low number here at that 130 mark. Are you leaning one way or the other with this one?
Yeah, I like this game, Joe. It should be a fun one to watch in the pavilion there in Oxford. I'll tell you, I was going after the total here, 130. I think it's a tick or two too high. Neither one of these two teams is going to look to kind of push the pace here, and both teams are better on the defensive side than the offensive side. We know head coach Johnny Dawkins, he's going to always concentrate kind of on the get back on defense. They're really one of the slowest teams in the country, talking about UCF, number 350 by Ken Palm in adjusted pace. So I don't think we have the possessions here, Joe. I wouldn't be surprised if this is 58, 59 possessions. Do the math, a point per possession. I don't think we get to 130. So I like the under in UCF and Ole Miss.
All right, not a bad look at all with the under in this one. Trig, what are you looking at here? You like the matchup with these two teams, or you kind of pushing towards the under like Drew is?
So I have thoughts here, Joe. It's hard to. Here's the problem: Deshaun Ruffin is back for Ole Miss, and in my opinion, he's I would look to play on Ole Miss with him back, because I thought they've gotten a little bit undervalued just because he missed the first however many games of the season. I think he came back 2 games ago. The problem is he's really just kind of come off the bench and hasn't played a ton. I think 11 minutes and 14 minutes for his what he played in the last 2 games. But the one was a complete blowout. So I guess I would want to know, like, he's coming off the bench. Is he going to start tonight? Is he going to play normal minutes? Because if he's back and he's playing his normal minutes, then I'd probably side with Ole Miss here, because I think they're going to be a lot better when he's back to being his normal self. If he's just coming off the bench and they're still kind of on a minutes restriction or some, he's not going to, get back to his production levels from last year, then that number's probably a little bit high, based on the fact that UCF has been, I would say, better than expected so far. Taylor Hendricks has been pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know that was really something that was counted on. Freshman from your guys' neck of the woods down in Fort Lauderdale, averaging like 15, 16 points a game for Central Florida. But what ultimately is going to keep me far away from Central Florida is this team was atrocious on the road last year, and they're playing their first true road game here. I would wait, because here's the thing. You've already missed the move, right? Like, this is creeped up. So I would probably wait to be certain that Ruffin is starting, or just let the game start and see if Central, see what they're going to do with Ruffin. If he's just out on the court and he's like, looks like is a full go, then maybe bet the Ole Miss in game if you can get a better number. But That's kind of the limiting factor here for me. If Ruffin's in the starting lineup and it looks like he's going to play his full minutes, I'd ride with Ole Miss in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they've you mentioned Hendricks there, and Jimmy, this kid can bomb away. UCF got a lot of size. They take their time. They're pretty good in the paint, but 35% of them points are coming from behind the arc. And, oh, yeah, Ole Miss, pretty good defensively here. So how do you approach this one? Total, side, you give it a lean one way or the other?
Yeah, this was a tough handicap, Joe, just because UCF hasn't played a true road game. So pretty low total, sitting around 128.5 when I looked this morning. Kind of leaning towards the dog. I'm not seeing a ton of numbers that indicate that Ole Miss is going to dominate this game. And this is a lot of points to be laying, in my opinion. Both teams very similar when it comes to points per game and points against, both coming off blowout wins against their opponents. I understand the Knights haven't played the best schedule, but they also haven't lost by more than 3 points. And that the game they lost by 3 came in double overtime against UNC Asheville. So, like I said, this is going to be the Knights' first true road game, which will certainly be a test, and I'll be watching. But Ole Miss is 5-0 on their home court. Rebels coming off by far their best offensive showing of the year. But I wanted to see how good this 7-2 UCF team really is before rushing to the window to bet them. This is going to be a pass for me, but if I had to make a recommendation, it would be on UCF.
All right, leaning towards UCF in this one here tonight. It is an intriguing card for sure with a couple of these matchups, some of the final non-conference games before teams really start diving in. Now we'll go around the horn and see if there may be a game here on the schedule these guys like a little bit more than the rest. And Drew, kick us off, man. Which game tonight here did you circle for us?
College Park, Maryland, Joe. I'm on the Terps at home, -1. Pretty much picked the winner off of two losses. Tough loss to Tennessee, and UCLA having to travel all the way across country. Lost their last 2 against the spread, 3 of the last 4, 5 of the last 7. Bruins are overpriced. Tough spot here, tough place to play. Give me the home team. Give me the Terps, Joe.
All right, there he goes. Terps it is here. And Trig, you had mentioned you got a client play here that you might be leaning towards giving out. What are you looking at?
Yeah, real quick, Joe. I have a special up on my page. It's the rest of 2022. All access, so you get everything through the end of the year. So all the college hoop and football, basically all the bowl games, the 5% NFL play that I have up, that's all. That's on my page right now. College basketball, I've only locked in one play for tonight. I'm going to give it to you for free. And I am going to fade, Joe, of course, the lesser learning institution in the capital, New York capital region here. That's Albany, okay? Siena being the superior one. I'm going against Albany because this team is a disaster. There's no way that they can lay 9 points against anyone. Listen, I get it. You look at Long Island's schedule, they're 1-8, but they've lost mostly bye games, right? Like they've lost to UConn, Utah, Marquette, St. John's. They haven't really played a team outside of the non-D1 opponent they have that they can really, beat or even like come close to. But I think they can hang around with Albany here. I don't really think Albany is a better team than Long Island right now. First of all the sites are listing this game at CEFCU Arena. I can assure you that it's not at CEFCU Arena. That place is getting renovated, which means this game is going to be out in Troy, New York at Hudson Valley Community College. So probably not much of a home court advantage for Albany. They had guys sick over the weekend. They only dressed 8 guys against Providence. But whether anyone comes back or not, again, kind of irrelevant. This team's just they lost their best player, essentially, Justin Neely. Second game of the season that was actually against Siena. He hasn't played since. They're just a mess. They have an ex-player suing the coach. So it's just a sloppy situation there. And then the other thing from a matchup perspective, guys, Albany last year under Killings, he was the first-year head coach last year. It's the second year. They played really good defense. This year, the defense has been a mess, giving up 76 points per game. Their shot selection, I went to the Albany game in Massachusetts last couple weeks ago. Their shot selection is atrocious. They're 328th this year in field goal percentage. They're hitting 40.6% per game. You can't lay 9 points with that. That is insane. I'm taking LIU. I believe they're the Sharks now. I think they changed their mascot from the Blackbirds to the Sharks a couple years ago. So give me LIU +9. It's a 4% client play for me. I'll be shocked if Albany blows them out. Just can't see it happen.
Yeah, isn't that Strickland too? It's just a mess.
Yeah.
It really is. It's,
Yeah.
it's an absolute mess. Shouldn't be minus 340 on the money line. Made me laugh. Talk to me here, Jimmy. Where are you looking at here tonight for a best bet? And remind the folks what you got going on here over at wagertalk.com tonight.
Yeah, real quick, 5% play going down tonight, 7-2 run, and college hoops play that I think is very likely to cash. 18-8 NFL run. We got a Thursday night play up. Rest of the card's going to be up shortly. So get involved with a single game package or long-term subscription. For today's best bet, I'm going to the Maryland UCLA game. Should be a good defensive battle, I think. We're going to look at the under. Maryland having trouble scoring right now. Lost back-to-back games against Wisconsin and Tennessee. Didn't get to 60 in either of them. I talked about how they have really good rim protection and they defend the three-point line very well. Mick Cronin always bringing a good defensive unit. Trig made a case for the Bruins, and they are hot right now. Very talented team, but I think that their points per game is a little bit fugazi. They've kind of run up the score on some inferior opponents, and while they're a talented team, they don't have quite as good an offense as their points per game suggests. Maryland 4-0 to the under last 4, so let's look at this one under the total for today's best bet, Joe.
All right, there you go. Up and under on that one as we take a look at our friends from thegoldsheet.com. They've got a play of the day, too, as well. They're going to be looking at Oregon here tonight, taking on UC Riverside. And they did point out there that Riverside has stepped up in class twice so far this season, and it has not worked out great at all for them. And Oregon, of course, we know this. We know one of the best coaches, Dana Altman, some of the best talent in there. Should not be an issue for Oregon to handle their business here tonight, according to our friends at thegoldsheet.com. And we invite you guys to go and visit them today at goldsheet.com. All right, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, guys. Give me Queens, North Carolina, taking on East Tennessee State. I will take the point and a half. This team is fun. I don't think people realize that, was that Queens, New York? No, they are 6-1 here against the number. They have been phenomenal. They've been mispriced a few times, and I think they're going to handle business here tonight against East Tennessee State. So I'll take the dog here in this one. With Queens, North Carolina. And to recap once again, we've got Drew going Maryland. Lay it here tonight. Likes to match up against UCLA. Trig says go Long Island. Who in the hell is Albany to be laying anything here at this point with the 9 points? Jimmy says, hey, give me the under in that UCLA Maryland matchup there, 142. I'm going to go with Queens, North Carolina, getting 2. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, they're going to lay to 13.5 with Oregon taking on UC Riverside. And if you head over to wagertalk.com, head over to Drew's page, Trig's page, and, of course, Jimmy Adams' page there. They told you guys they are locked and loaded with football plays, college hoops plays, a little something for everybody right now. Great opportunity for you to hop on board those 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day all-access packages. That gets you every best bet, including their 5% best bets, instantaneously delivered to you. So good stuff there. And of course, much more going on in the world of college basketball this week. Holidays next week. It's really starting to ramp up. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Hope you'll come back and join us again tomorrow for the college basketball tip-off show. Until then, on behalf of Drew, Adam, Trigger, and Jimmy Adams, we appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.